welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Sam, and in today's video I'm going to be doing just a little sit down chit chat about everything having to do with gay parenting, fertility, how it is being a lesbian mom, all of those things. So if that sounds interesting to you, then keep on watching. Okay, so the other day in my Instagram stories, I put up a little question box just to ask me anything, no particular topic or anything like that. And the majority of the questions were all about fertility. What is my family like dynamic like with my boys? Do I know the donor? Do they all have the same donor? Things of that nature. And I answered some of the questions, but I got so many that I really wanted to do a dedicated video about it, because I used to scour the internet for videos like this, mostly about trying to get pregnant as a lesbian, or I don't know, just everything having to do with being a gay mom. Because when I watch motherhood videos, there's not a lot of gay women. So I am excited to dive into today's video. Today it's going to be like part one of a series, I think, because my content is not usually about just like gay topics. It's usually about thrifting or home decor and things like that. But I also am like lifestyle, because I really don't want to pin myself down to any particular topic. And in lifestyle, like I'm gay, I have kids, I'm a mom. Literally my whole life is about being a mom. I just thought it'd be really fitting to add this to my channel. So I'm going to do a whole series, I think. Today is just answering everyone's questions, and then I can do some more dedicated videos. I can do like a whole video on like exactly how I got pregnant, TMI style, if you want. I might dive into that a little bit today. But anyway, let's just get into the questions. So I re-asked on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, my handle is _SamHolly_, and follow me. Will you? So I re-put another question box because I was like, let me just get all of the questions compiled into one spot about fertility and gay. So the first question is, I want to be respectful, so reminders about what is inappropriate to ask or say, like the reminder of saying dad versus donor. Oh, okay. Sorry, that it's not a question, but it's a good segue into everything. But so they were just commenting on the other day when I posted the Q&A box. Somebody had asked, do your kids all have the same dad? And I was trying to be respectful and educational in my response, because that is honestly one of my biggest pet peeves, is when people ask if the boys like know their dad or have a dad. So let's just get right into that. I personally, because I present like feminine, sorry, my card was full, so I had to restart this. So anyway, unless I tell you that I'm gay, you might not know that I'm gay just because I look feminine. So a lot of times when I mention that I have kids, people will say, what does your husband do for work? Where's their dad? Where's your husband? Etc. First of all, in 2024, can we stop assuming that people are married if they have kids in general? You know, like, what if I was a single mom? What if I wasn't gay? What if I was just a straight single mom? You know, it's just the assumptions I just feel like need to stop. I think that it's hard in the moment if you're used to a certain way. So if you're not aware that there are so many different types of ways to make a family in your day-to-day, if that's not something that you live with daily, then you might not be sympathetic or empathetic or thinking about that. But now that I've lived my whole life like this, I feel like I'm just very hyper aware to not ask too many assuming questions to people that I don't know. This video, I want to be all about educating in a kind way. So when you ask someone who's gay, a lesbian, if their kids have a dad, it can be offensive for a few reasons, and it might not be to every single lesbian couple. I can only speak for myself. I find it a little offensive because a dad is someone who is a caregiver, is someone who is in their daily life, is someone who loves them, takes care of them, is a parent. And so the term donor is just much more appreciated. I just don't like when people call the donor a dad. It just really bothers me. And I got a lot of messages from other lesbians who have kids and agreed and just said thank you so much for putting that out there. And I know a lot of people are very just curious and are not coming from a mean place and are just, they're really just unsure and ignorant, but not in a mean way. I don't know how else to say ignorant. Uneducated about the topic, but are coming from a nice place. So if you know a gay couple and you want to ask any questions about their kids, go with donor instead of dad. I think too, when you are gay, there's absolutely no man, like when you're a lesbian, there's no man in your life. So when you say dad, it's just really, really hurtful because it's like, we're two women. Why are you assuming there's a dad? It's just, I don't know. And because I'm remarried, a lot of people think that my older boys, like, I was straight once and then I discovered I'm a lesbian, you know, and they must have been from a guy, and then I realized I'm gay later in life, and then, you know, then I had Frank. But I've been gay my whole life. Gold star lesbian over here, which if you're not gay, and I don't even know if the cool new young lesbians use gold star term anymore, but that means I've never been with a man. So anyway, I am getting already off topic. I've been talking for like 10 minutes. Next question, how do lesbian couples decide which of them will conceive? I've always wondered. So that's a really good question. I feel like this whole video I'll just be speaking for myself, but there's probably a lot of different reasons that one woman will choose to carry the baby over the other one. I can say that for me and my wife is a bit more masculine, I would say. She's just less feminine and just has not really ever had the desire to physically carry a child. She's always wanted to have kids, but hasn't had that like feminine urge to, like the maternal instinct to want to carry a baby. Same with my ex, so it just made sense for us because I've always wanted to do it. I've always wanted to, you know, be pregnant, and now that I've been pregnant, I'm good. But I've always wanted to do it. I can't imagine like watching someone else do it. I'd be so jealous, you know, to be transparent and honest. But obviously if I couldn't, like physically couldn't, then I would have been okay with like my ex or my current wife doing it. But I really, really had that want and desire. And I think that a lot of times, like if lesbian couples, if both are really feminine and both really want to carry a baby, even if you're not feminine, you can want to carry a baby. Obviously, there's just it's just like straight couples, you know, we're all just humans. We're all just wanting different things. And so there's really no right or wrong way to make a family whatsoever. So sometimes lesbian couples, they might both want to carry, and like one will carry the first baby and then the next one, the next baby. Or one doesn't really care about it. So, or maybe neither one cares about it and they just like choose one to do it. Let's go to the next question. How did you find a donor, known and anonymous? So with my older two boys, we used a sperm bank, and there are lots of reputable sperm banks, but the one I used is not one of them, so do not use them. I did not know that at the time. They are called Zytex, and I'm sure people are still using them, but they are shady. They oversold. If you Google them, you might find articles about it, but they oversold vials of sperm. So my boy's donor, I think it was supposed to be 50 max donation, like to give out, and they went way over that. And a whole other video I could do on their donor siblings, but they know their donor siblings. So I know a lot of the moms, and we all know that there's just way more than what they said they were going to hand out. So that can be an issue later on in life for my older boys, because they kind of have to like be aware that if they meet someone that they don't know, they may have to double check that that's not their sibling, essentially. But the chances of that happening are probably pretty slim, because like 100 kids in billions of population, it's like a little rare to fall in love with your sibling. But you know, it's just one of those crazy things that could be a possibility. So anyway, we used a sperm bank. Sorry, I'm gonna get off topic so many times. We used a sperm bank, and it's kind of like a online dating site. Like, you see all of the different donors' profiles, and we had to pay a fee. I think a lot of sperm banks do this. I can't remember what the fee was because it was 12 years ago. But you had to pay a fee, and then each donor costs a different amount. So our donor was like the premium donor, and he cost the most because he gave the most information. We got photos, we have baby pictures of him, we have adult pictures, childhood photos, we have health history up to his great-grandparents, we have like a voice memo that he made. He also wrote up a little bit about himself and why he wanted to donate. So we got a lot of information about him, as well as the reason he was a bit more was because he will give access to the boys to, or any of his donor children, to reach out to him when they turn 18. So that was really important to us, because I want the boys to be able to decide if they want to do that or not. I don't want to be the one that chooses that for them. And as of now, neither one of them ever ask about him, but they do know they're from a donor. They've seen pictures of him. Like I said, they've met their donor siblings. We're very, very open about it, because I just really think that's most important, so that they're not growing up wondering what, you know, what he's like and just all of that. I just want them to be able to have that information and do whatever they want with it. If they're not interested in it, then that's fine, but at least it wasn't me who made that choice for them. So we used the sperm bank. There's so many others. There's like California Cryobank, Boston IVF might have a sperm bank. I'm not sure, but you could do research on that. And the known donor, so anyway, the boys, my older two boys, have the same anonymous donor. And then my youngest is a known donor. So we tried first with the boys donor, the anonymous donor, and he didn't have a lot of vials left, because he's like, if you have a reported birth with him, you can use his vials still. So he's not like on the market still just to anyone. So he didn't have a lot of vials left, and it's expensive, so expensive. So I mean, not insane, but it was like $1,200 a vial. And we tried several times with him. I ended up getting pregnant before I had Frank, my toddler, with that donor. And I ended up having a miscarriage. And then right after, literally weeks after, and like I said, I can make a whole video on how I got pregnant, but I used a known donor, which is my best friend. And he is gay, and we've been friends since high school, and he doesn't want to have kids, so he is like an angel on earth and let us use his sperm to have a baby, and so that he can kind of like see what his kid would look like, but he doesn't have to be responsible for them. And I have another question like asking about if he's in their life, and he is my best friend, so he is in our lives. He's just, you know, uncle. He's just whatever he is to my older boys, to Frank. It's not weird. We're just so close that it's just not weird whatsoever. So we used him for Frank, and then the anonymous one for the older two. So that was a question I got a lot. Let's move on. What was the hardest part? How did you decide who would carry? How did you pick your donor? So I guess I didn't talk about how I picked or why I picked the anonymous donor that I picked. I chose him mostly off of looks. He's like tall, dark, and handsome. His features are very like plain, like no like crazy features, like distinct features. So I thought his like looks would blend well with mine, and my older boys are just like the most handsome guys in the whole world. So what is the hardest part? I don't know what you mean, like if you mean about getting pregnant or being a gay parent, but I would say getting pregnant. With my oldest, I got pregnant first try using IUI, which is intrauterine insemination, and it's different than IVF. IUI, they just take the sperm, put it in a very long syringe at the doctor's office. Like, it is long, but it doesn't hurt. You don't feel anything. And they just insert it. So sperm, insert it. IVF is like they take your eggs out, combine it with the sperm, let it fertilize, then put it back in you. Much more invasive, much more expensive. The IUI process at my doctor's office was like a few $100s, and then the sperm is $1,200, so each try gets pricey. If you only have to do it one time, like I did with Ben, the sperm was cheaper back then too. It was like 900 something, I remember, and then the procedure was 200 something, so it was not too bad, you know. And he worked first try, and I was like, what? I was shocked, but I was 23, so I was probably like so fertile. But the hardest part is like the wanting to get pregnant and having to go through all of these extreme like measures versus a straight couple who, if they're not having fertility problems, because straight couples can have their own set of issues as well and might need IUI or IVF, but typically a straight couple, they can just have sex, and like they can even be like, whoops, we're pregnant, or like, I want to try, I think. And you know, when you're gay, you can't just like, I don't know, let's start trying. You have to plan it out, you have to track your cycle, you have to pay for it, you have to go to the doctors. It's not very, you know, sexy, it's not romantic, it's very like sterile and medicinal. Like, it's just not like the way you would want to create a family. But so with Ben and Henry, my older two, I did it at the doctor's office, but with Frank, I did it at home. And I got myself pregnant both times. The miscarriage, I got myself pregnant at home, and with Frank, I got myself pregnant at home. So with the anonymous donor I had got, you can get the cryobank sent to your house, the cryo tank, not the whole bank, Jesus crow. The tank sent to your house, and then you just kind of time it around your ovulation. And then known donor, I'm not going to get into too many details about that on this video, because I can make a TMI video if you want, and you could just let me know down below. But y'all didn't sign up for super TMI. But with known donor, like, we did not, you know, he's gay, I'm gay. We didn't. He donated, and then I put it in a syringe, and that's how I did it. I did not sleep with him. So anyway, so I would say the hardest part is the actual like trying, just as same as I guess like a straight couple, just when you really, really want a baby and you can't get pregnant, that's super hard. Like with Frank, it took me over a year to get pregnant. I don't know why. I don't know. It's just because I'm older or what, but yeah. Okay, next question, because I feel like I've rambled forever on that one. What's the dynamic knowing who Frank's donor is? So I talked about that. He's my best friend, and it's great. How did you decide how did your partners decide who would birth? We answered that. Is it hard for the non-birthing mother to know she's not biologically related to the child? Well, my wife is in the car with Frank because he's sleeping and he sleeps in the car. So she can't answer personally, but I have talked to her about it a lot. Like, we talk about everything, and she doesn't feel any type of way about it. I think, like, I don't notice any difference. She is like the best mom ever. Just the second he came out, it was just like, that's my kid. There's absolutely no, like, I've never felt like she has like ill will about it, has ever mentioned that it bothers her. We've talked about it. She said it doesn't bother her, so I could get her take on it sometime and record that, but from what we've talked, it doesn't bother her whatsoever. Okay, let's say, that is a good question. That was a good question. you were very lucky with success in IUI as a former fertility PT. I would know. Yeah, I was lucky, especially with Ben. I got pregnant the first try. And do you want to know a funny story is, the doctor that I had at the time I've always had the same doctor, but the doctor who was going to do that, like there was a fertility doctor in my office and he's not there anymore. He was such a cranky old man. He's the one who got me pregnant. But he was very specific and said because I was on birth control my whole life up until I had Ben, because I have really bad periods, and he was very, very rigid. He was like, you have to go off of your birth control for 3 months, and then you have to track your basal temperature, you know, you have to get like a basal thermometer, track your temperature every day. You have to do that for 3 months. He really wanted me to do all these specific things, but I didn't listen to him. I was like, no. My personality, I'm just like, I can hear what you're saying, but I'm gonna do whatever I want. So, and I really wanted a baby. So I didn't listen to him. I went off my birth control for like a week, and I started taking the Clear Blue digital ovulation tests, and I was like, it says I'm ovulating. So the next time I ovulated, I just ordered the sperm and called my doctor's office and was like, I'm getting sperm sent and I need to schedule my IUI. And then when I got in, he was like, you're already here. He's like, this probably isn't gonna work. I needed you to do, you know, I needed you to track and all this stuff. And he was so mad at me. And I was like, whatever, I don't care. And I was pregnant. So I was like, screw you, you know? So anyway, and it was like perfect, healthy pregnancy. My son is perfect. So, you know, I feel like women know their bodies. I was like, why do I have to track all this? It says I'm ovulating, you know? All right, the next one, but anyway, I will add. So I was lucky with that. And then with Henry, it took 4 IUIs, which is a very normal amount of IUIs. I feel like you think, oh, it's literally taking the sperm and putting it right where it needs to go. And how can that not work? But it's very normal for it to take a few tries. So if you were in the process, I feel for you. I know it's so hard because with Frank it took a year. So I feel you. It's hard, and it's hard, especially when you're gay, to not think about it, because you have to think about it. You have to order the sperm, you have to track it. Everything is so precise that you can't just not think about it and relax. You literally, that's all you're doing is thinking about it. So I get it. It's so hard. Where did you meet? How did you decide who would carry? Love y'all and manifesting this. Oh, so sweet. Well, and if you're manifesting getting pregnant, I'm manifesting it for you too, because I'm just putting it out there. You're gonna get pregnant if you want to. How did we meet? Me and my wife. We met on Tinder, but not really. So anyway, we went to high school together, but we weren't in the same grade. She's 4 years ahead of me, so she was a senior when I was a freshman, and she remembers me, and I remember her, but she remembers me more than I remember her. Like, I remember she went to school with me, but she said she remembers like seeing me in like this talent show thing I did, which was so embarrassing. I was like, oh wow, you saw that. So anyway, but when I like went on Tinder after I got a divorce, like right away, I was like, wow, because I had been with my ex since I was 19, so I was like really excited to get out there. And then I immediately got with Renee, so I wasn't out there very long. So anyway, we went to high school together, but we ended up meeting on Tinder. So anyway, so she reached out to me on Instagram, actually. She saw me on Tinder, but that's not how we like met, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. But she messaged me on Instagram and asked me like if we want to hang out sometime or whatever. And I was like, actually, I'm having a birthday party. You should come. Or like, I'm going out for my birthday. You should come. And then that night she came out, and we have never been apart ever since. And that was 2017. And yeah, then we got married in 2019, had Frank 2021, and we're just happy, happy, happy. Would your wife use the same donor as Frank if you both want another baby? Oh, so, okay, so also, let me just say, this video is going on so long. I am getting a hysterectomy. I've already processed it, so just, it's not upsetting anymore. I was upset. I was really upset. But I processed it, and I'm fine with it. I have a majorly large fibroid in my uterus, and they said if I don't want to have more babies, like, it is safest to just have a hysterectomy. And so that's what I'm having this summer. But anyway, so if we did want to have another, which I don't think we do, Renee could carry the baby. And yeah, we would definitely use the same donor as Frank. Let's see. Last question. Do you have... Oh. Last question is somebody's asking me about children's books. So I think I'm actually done. Wow, I feel like I just talked for so long. If you're still here, I really appreciate you. I hope this was somewhat helpful, or at least entertaining or insightful. If you are if you're going to be going through any of this situation, if you have any more questions, feel free to message me on Instagram, or if you'd like a whole dedicated video on how I got pregnant or anything else, drop a comment down below. I appreciate you guys so much. And if you want this to be a series, let me know too, because that could be really fun. I could talk about this obviously for a very, very long time. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.